Thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland. As always, I'm your Foul Player. I want to make a short video regarding the Jets situation, whether they should or shouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence, and also whether the threat for Trevor Lawrence going back to college is a viable or real threat in my eyes. First off, as far as the Jets drafting Trevor Lawrence, I think it's an absolute go. I mean, I hear a lot of people saying that they could draft that. I mean, they could trade out of that pick and acquire draft capital for the future. I mean, as tempting as that may sound, you still have Sam Darnold, who for what he's shown like in his time here. Granted, I mean he's had three different coaches, three different offensive systems, but I think that's a reason to move on from Darnold is because of those same things. Like he's already seen that dysfunction, and had to have lived through it. I don't see many cases in which a quarterback goes through dysfunctional situations like that and then comes out on the other side of his career to dominate. Um, but it's not just a Sam Darnold thing. It's a Trevor Lawrence thing. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I think, is a generational quarterback. I liked him from the first time I saw him play, and you don't get a chance at drafting somebody like that. At the end, to me, it becomes a question of like the last generational quarterback was Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck, I think, played like just about to expectation, maybe a little less than what we expected him to perform at. But could Sam Donald become Andrew Luck? From what I see, no. I think Sam Donald is a notch below Andrew Luck, and we're gonna have to pay Sam Darnold in a year or two. And what kind of contract do you want to give him? I mean, the going rate for even an average quarterback is more than $20 million. Like, and I don't think from what I've seen from Sam Darnold, and not just from what I've seen, but his injury history, that he deserves that kind of money of yet. But you know, if you don't draft Sam Darnold, I mean, you may I think the next best prospect is the lineman out of Oregon. Right now, we've kind of like hindered ourselves in signing Font at our right tackle position, and now we've drafted Mekhi Becton, who I think is going to be our answer for left tackle in years to come. I actually like the Mekhi Becton pick, but are you going to draft a kid from Oregon to play at a guard position until we could move on from the Font contract? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, and I think that's kind of a little bit of a waste. So personally, I think that it's 100% all in on Trevor Lawrence. I think the chance of drafting a generational quarterback, and from what I see, like on a general level, I think he looks better than Andrew Luck in college, and I liked Andrew Luck a lot in his playing time at Stanford. But what Trevor Lawrence has accomplished, I mean, as far as winning championships, performing from his freshman year till now, being a leader in the community as far as leading rallies and marches. I mean, he's putting himself out there, and he's still able to perform at a high level, and that's what you need in New York. Um, but the draft capital versus taking a surefire quarterback argument, I think, is no, because that draft capital will likely be utilized in years to come, which is a good thing, but it does nothing for the immediate sense of the Jets. But the Jets also have a decent amount of draft capital going into next year. I mean, like, we've already ready to trade for a sixth and seventh rounder for the defensive tackle, I think McClendon. We have Seattle's first round pick next year, and I believe we have their third round pick next year too, which equates to a second round pick. But it's still pretty. You could get a really good player like that. I mean, a lot of people go pumped up about Denzel Mims being drafted this year. We could draft somebody of that same caliber and be excited about him in 2021. So we already have draft capital. We have a lot of cap room to play with next year. I think the time to rebuild usually happens with the drafting of a quarterback. There's no better opportunities to start a formal rebuild than when you start with a good quarterback that's pretty much handed to you on a platter. I mean, Font hasn't at the right tackle position has played a lot better than I expected. He's still not that great, but Mekhi Becton next year, I mean, that secures our left tackle spot. I mean, all we have to do is address that line, which is still pretty putrid, and we have a nice base to build with after we also get whichever quarterback we get some weapons to throw to. But I think next year, and I trust in Joe Douglas as a GM with the draft. But we have a good base to build with, and also considering that we have a lot of money coming off the on the books, or we'll have a lot of money on the books in free agency going into 2021. Now, as far as Trevor Lawrence threatening, I mean, a lot of people considering that Trevor Lawrence may go back to Clemson. I don't think that's such a tangible threat. I think a lot of factors play against Trevor Lawrence or for the Jets and having Trevor Lawrence not go back to school and join the pros. But the biggest factor, I think, now is the uncertainty of the coronavirus. I mean, I don't know how fast you get that money, signing bonuses or like as a number one draft pick. But you rather have that money in hand rather than facing the threat of the college football season being canceled for 2021 when the coronavirus or COVID-19 or I don't want to get the video flagged, but when that happened or the threat of it happened, the first league that I remember like that was outright considering canceling their season was football. They were at the forefront of doing cancellations, and if I remember correctly, I think Clemson had a big COVID scare this past year. So having seen all that firsthand for Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I think it would be wise for him to get the money in hand, get drafted, and start his professional career rather than facing a cancellation of a season or something unforeseen where he'll have no money coming in his direction. But I think another thing that plays for the Jets is the fact that they have the biggest media capital in the world for Trevor Lawrence to play within here in the New York City metro area. You still have Joe Namath, who's a legend for winning one championship and having what was sort of a good career, maybe even subpar career. But the fact that he was able to win here in New York, particularly for the Jets, I mean, has made him a hero for the rest of his life. You have other examples of players who were able to parlay a short or good moments that they had in New York into money-making opportunities for the rest of their life. I mean, you have Victor Cruz that gets gigs on ESPN and SNY. He was on there for a stint, the sport network here in New York. You also have Odell Beckham Jr., who played a short stint, had like one magnificent play against Dallas, and he was able to parlay that into Head and Shoulders commercials on a national level, and that's kind of come to a pause since he's been with the Browns. But those opportunities, like I think he would have the world by the pearls if he were to come to New York and be that tall, like picturesque quarterback. I think he would have the city on its knees, quite frankly. We had a little bit of that talk last year with Burrow threatening to go, not even to go back to school. I think Burrow was a senior, but with Burrow threatening to hold out, or somebody in his camp trickling that news out. I think it may have been his dad. If he got drafted by the Bengals. Now the Bengals have been a real train wreck. Not that the Jets are any better, but the Bengals play in Cincinnati. I mean, nobody even nobody's gonna say let let's go on our honeymoon to the Cincinnati metro area. I mean, you know, it's a question of whether you want to go play for the Jaguars or and go spend your career in Duval, or whether you want to come here to the County of Kings in New York, or what other teams might be drafting him. I'm trying to think. Um, it's like I think there's no better place than for him to come to than here. Now I pretty sure that Gase is gonna be gone after his time um, coaching this team this year. I think they should have fired him mid-season or like week 3. But that could only hurt the Jets' chances. But no matter what, I mean, Trevor Lawrence knows that he's gonna have a new quarterback coming in here that's excited to play for that to coach for the Jets and to coach up Trevor Lawrence. You also have the fact that Joe Douglas is going to be picking that coach, and Joe Douglas's contract is a lengthy one. I believe it's like 5 years or 7 years. It could be. And Joe Douglas, I mean, for as much as I get on him for his bad free agency period this past year, and the fact that they didn't re-sign Robbie Anderson, and that they didn't make any significant moves, I think the fact that he didn't go all in on this year and maybe overpay for people that weren't really worth it was ballsy in a sense, and it leaves us in a good position for 2021. I mean, he's gonna have to really build this team from the ground up, but I think Trevor Lawrence might be going on to a historically bad team, and the chance of him getting to build that historically bad team back up should be tempting. I mean, and you should look to the Browns, and they were in a similar position with their quarterback, and their quarterback has been able to pull some money nationally as far as with commercials and whatnot, um, and make a career for himself um, with the Cleveland market, and he has had zero success besides I mean one playoff appearance, and they have a really good team. I think if uh, Trevor Lawrence plays a lot better than Mayfield, and I think he's going to have a lot more opportunities to make money outside of football, particularly here in the New York market. But let me know what you guys think. With that, I'm out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.